Welcome to the Elk Season Podcast, Season 4, Episode 5. Today is March 13th, 2025. We are 169 days until elk season.
It's coming.
We are the Chambers Brothers. My name is Harold.
I'm David.
And tonight on the Elk Season Podcast.
Like usual, hodgepodge of stuff. We're going to get some closure on a couple of YouTube things like Destination Elk. We're going to talk a little bit about, got some wolves on there. Got several elk stories, grizzly bear stuff, a whole bunch of things. So all of that and a little bit more. We'll see how long we can make it last.
Tonight on the Elk Season Podcast.
See, I knew you'd get my back.
Welcome.
It's not that I forgot. Sometimes I just let it hang.
It's all right.
You know, something I'm lauded for by some of my colleagues when I was more heavily into being a mental health counselor was my therapeutic silence I could provide. So
I could use some therapeutic silence right now. Yeah, I could. Except the voices in my head. All right. So I know that last time we talked, Destination Elk version 7 was just wrapping up.
Yeah, their whole shtick this year was going out without any food or limited resources. You can get your own food, things like that. They weighed in, they weighed out at the end.
Yeah.
And they had to go out and just find their elk.
Yeah.
It was actually a pretty good gig, and I enjoyed quite a few moments of it just because that was an interesting spin on that whole series.
Yeah.
Just like real elk hunting, though, there's a lot of time where nothing's happening.
A lot.
And so it's actually a fairly true depiction of what it's like to go out elk hunting.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. It was a great depiction. And I did not hit the 10-second fast forward button 500 or 600 times. I don't. I really like to watch it. I like the silence, the crunch of the pine needles and pine cones when they're walking, and I could do without some of the shaky cameraman stuff. They've got to get some gimbaled something.
I don't know. Maybe
we have better footage than that hiking with my little gimbaled camera that I had.
That DJI is not too bad.
But you know, you can only carry so many cameras and batteries and SD cards.
To their defense, yeah.
So I get it. Anyway, so it was nice of them that when they wrapped it up, instead of him and Donnie talking, it was every single crew.
Yes.
And it was Corey asking questions, directing the flow. Hey, what'd you guys think of this? Hey, how did it go for you? And they just went down the list and just did a debrief of the whole season. And they threw in some extra footage that you didn't see during this little sit down. Anyways, so they wrapped it up well. It was it was all tied up nicely. So anyways, and then there's another YouTube channel that I'm even watching more of tonight, and I just found this news out tonight.
Yeah.
From you.
Yeah.
But
so, and I brought this up 2 podcasts ago about Desert Drifter being in an accident.
Yeah.
Desert Drifter is a fabulous channel. He just goes around. I mean, you actually knew of him before I did. And when I discovered him, it's like I couldn't put him down. It's this drug that kept feeding my soul of all these ancient finds or I'm sorry, ancient historic locations in the Southwest, and even in Montana. He goes to Montana at one point to look at the wall. There's a weird wall in Montana. I feel like he was putting it together as like it seemed more natural than it was.
Definitely more natural. I've seen all those guys talk about all the great monoliths of Montana, and it's all quackpot.
But his wife posted, and that's what you said you found. His wife posted a video a few weeks ago that he had been in a car accident, was fighting for his life. And so everybody, it's funny because me and a whole bunch of others are watching simply to make sure that his channel gets fuel for, I'm sure he's monetized, he's millions of views, trying to make sure that they stay supported. And people were even commenting, like, watching it for you, buddy, like, hang in there. Well, I caught a clip on YouTube last night from Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah.
And its headline was Desert Drifter dead at 36 years old.
Oh.
I was heartbroken because I didn't even, it wasn't, I kept going back to the channel, seeing if there was anything posted. There's other places that they posted as well. There was actually a different forum that they tend to communicate with their followers the most at, is what I learned. I'm not on that. I don't have a lot of social media, so I didn't go set it up.
Yeah.
Hoping that I would see something bubble up in the comments or something like that, particularly on that video.
Right.
And I didn't return to that video frequently enough, but I did see that one of the first comments was pinned related to him passing. Oh. And so it's just heartbreaking that he was on life support, and it became clear that he was not likely to recover. And so last week, as the article and ET described, surrounded by family, he passed away.
So I hadn't been watching Desert Drifter for very long. I had been watching another one. In fact, I mistakenly said his name on the podcast when we were talking about Desert Drifter. I called him Trek Planner.
Oh.
So there's another guy does the same thing. Trek Planner.
I think I just came across it. I haven't watched it, but I saw a video with a similar name. It might be him.
Yeah, anyway, so Trek Planner and Desert Drifter, very, very similar stuff. You know, look at Google Earth, which I get. Man, I love Google Earth. I am nuts about Google Earth.
Yeah.
I have spent hours and hours on Google Earth. I just love it. And so I get the fascination of, I've never seen a place on Google Earth I didn't want to look at in person.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Never seen a mountain I didn't want to climb. And these guys go deep into some really interesting canyons in Utah, and see places that have been abandoned and never seen for thousands of years. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's some really good YouTube.
I'll have to check them out too.
Yeah.
I don't remember you saying that, but you know how memory works.
Well, yeah. Well, so when I put the podcast up, I have to listen to it again. God help me. And so I listen to everything and I go, I keep saying Trek Planner. I said it 3 or 4 times.
Oh, that's funny.
And I didn't say Desert Drifter. I think I said Desert Drifter once or twice, but I said Trek Planner more. So anyway.
Interesting.
But that's very sad.
Yeah. To his family, best wishes to the grieving process, the recovery process of that. It's a tough loss.
Yeah.
And it's felt worldwide, really.
Yeah, indeed.
So he did a great job.
He did great, like investigative journalism. Like,
to me, it's like he had one of those voices.
Investigative archaeology.
Yeah. He had just had one of those voices that was like therapeutic to me.
Yeah.
I could just listen to his voice.
Yeah.
Because he just had a cadence and a presence with his voice that was calming and soothing, but never threatening. And it just was so cool.
Yeah. Not overbearing or anything. Yeah. Yeah. He had a good voice.
And even though he tended to stay objective with things, there were moments where he would speculate, and I think he liked to, I mean, he's as human as any of us. So I appreciated that when I started noticing him doing that in some spots. So it's okay to go, I wonder what would happen here. I think maybe this was going on or that was going on.
It looks to me like this is what's happening. Probably, maybe not, but
didn't do it all that often, but
yeah.
So, where did I say we were going to head after all of that? Oh, we're going to talk about elk now.
We're talking about elk on the Elk Season Podcast.
Dude, what's this blonde elk you posted in here?
I came across it on my scroll.
It's cool looking.
I thought it was really cool. It's not an albino elk. It's a blonde elk.
I know. I read the headline before I jumped to conclusions because my brain goes, albino? But but then I saw blonde. So it must just be...
just a cool, unique elk.
Yeah.
And you know what? And we look. I just like elk.
Yeah.
I like looking at all my old footage.
Yeah.
Right. And I would tell the guy who hunts up where we do, who goes to my wife's gym.
Oh yeah,
Patrick, such a great guy. He's like, I would send him pictures. I think I have video of his bull that he killed this year.
Yeah, you told me that.
Right.
Yeah.
I probably have video of him. And because I would send Patrick, I go, hey, if you're hunting up here this weekend, here's what I saw. Here's what was up there, right? And now he's like, you know what? That's fun. I'm not really using a whole lot of that intelligence, a whole lot of that data for my hunt. It's just for my own enjoyment. Yeah. Because I like seeing the elk. That one clip we got this year, it's 1 minute and 11 seconds long. It's in the dark. There's over 50 elk, and they are talking and moving. And And it's moments like that, and the stuff that we saw from years ago in the Sawtooth.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll bring that back up in a little bit.
Yes, I'm sorry.
But no, it's I actually want I want the clip of the big old boy in the Ripper.
Yeah.
It was like during it was in the middle of the night or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that guy was huge.
Yeah.
That video just sorry. You made me reminisce on your reminiscing.
Anyway, so just to see the different things that come along. I just enjoy the elk, and so when I see a cool elk, that's why I snap that screenshot.
You know, we're not alone in wanting to capture elk, because you also showed a video of sort of an elk herd going along. And at first I'm thinking, well, that's the elk that's going to get eaten by the wolf because it's at the back of the pack, or back of the herd rather.
Right.
And it's limping.
Yeah.
But then they pan forward and there's many elk limping. And I'm like, what is that about?
Yeah. I always thought I was really curious until I think it popped up on there. Right. They talked about a hoof disease.
Oh, yeah.
Like a communal hoof disease. So it's not like I figured anything out.
Okay.
Because I was really confused when I watched it.
Maybe I didn't put that together till just now, because I watched it. It popped up, but I didn't read it. But then you said something, hoof disease, but I didn't connect it. But that would make sense.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's interesting to see, populations can be impacted in certain ways. And I wonder what would lead to hoof disease impacting that many elk.
If the elk are communal enough, if they're put in a tight spot, if they're in close quarters, like these herds in Yellowstone. Are we there yet?
Well, we can jump there. It was actually a herd in Wyoming, but probably in and out of Yellowstone, but a Wyoming herd, where they have such big herds, but they come out of the mountains during the winter, but there's no feed because there's nowhere for them to go to eat. So we feed them at feedlots. Right. And so they came across a cow that was dead, and they're like, well, they test it because that's what they do. And it was CWD. Wow. So I think that there's still so many questions about CWD, if it's communal or exactly how is it infectious? Like there's just stuff we don't know. Yeah. But it's interesting to see it show up in that condition. Was that part of why it showed up? But again, don't know. Yeah. So if there's more out there that I should know, and you need to let us know. Yeah,
so a communal disease could really, really impact large herds at feeding lots. Yeah, and the reason, and I may have misspoke before. Sometimes the reason that they fed the elk was that there was just too many because they killed all the wolves, but also obviously because they're gonna ravage the hay. That land has been
so it's a multitude of reasons.
Has been commandeered. Yeah. Right? Normally where they would graze in the wintertime has been commandeered by ranches, and there's cattle and there's feed, and they don't want them mingling. So they go, listen, let's just for a few months, let's set some hay aside and let's feed these herds through the hard winter months.
Get them used to this so they're not
right. So
it's just a conditioning thing. Yeah. So and then there's a lot of factors that go into that, I'm sure, but that's probably a big one. Yeah. But anyway, it's interesting to see the different elk situations that we come across, but again, it was probably better place when you tried to get me to go there and I didn't. But the elk videos that we collect, we do things, we talk about it. You've done some videos before. You actually show clips at the end of our episodes, which I think is really cool. Yeah. And so I was like, well, why am I not doing something with these too? And I realized I had all these clips from the Sawtooth zone that we put up. We put cameras up. We talked about it on the podcast when we were doing it, I think 2 years ago. Yeah. So this is 2-year-old footage, but it was up for an entire year through winter. I mean, there's clips that the snow is above the camera lens, but the camera's still rolling for whatever reason. And so you can see the snow left. There's actually a really cool clip of a mouse jumping in front of the camera at one point, which is fun.
And I think on one of the cameras, it was snowed over on Christmas Day, and it did not see daylight again until May.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was but what was behind that cameras again was I think I could get onto Google Earth and identify where elk will be in September.
Yeah.
I totally guessed. I think elk are going to be here. I'm going to go put up cameras.
And guess what?
There was lots of elk there. And so
footage
now I'm
is-
confident when I go on Google Earth and I go, I bet there's elk here. I bet there's elk here. There's going to be elk here in December or September. Here's how I'm going to get there. Here's where I'm going to look. Here's where I'm going to hike. Here's where I'm going to camp. And I can plan 1,000 trips in my head now based on this understanding of where I can find elk in Idaho in September.
Yeah, it was a resounding success.
Yeah, it was good.
But I also, I think it was last year, I wrote a theme song for the podcast. Now we actually, you can actually watch the evolution of this song on our podcast, because we started talking about it on the podcast, and we started joking about it. And so, full disclosure, and it's not a super proud moment for me, because I love to write music and I love to write songs.
Yeah.
And so I tongue in cheek, like, well, what kind of song could AI write? And so we did this live, and I actually had a song sort of published from AI.
Yeah.
Well, I say song, it wasn't the full song. It was just the lyrics. That's all it was.
Okay.
Here's the idea. Here's the lyrics. What do you got? When I looked it over, I kind of saw that there was maybe potential there, and I had a riff that I had shared with you.
Yeah.
And so that culminated into the Elk Season song that you hear at the end of our podcast now that you put there. So thank you for that.
Right.
I do publish music, and you can go buy music, and you can go listen to my music for free on YouTube. But this song, I didn't want to put somewhere for sale, because I just don't feel right, because AI did the work with the lyrics. Even though I came in, I wrote the guitar, I did the vocal harmonies. I did a bulk of the work here. I really did. Yeah. And I even had to arrange the lyrics, because AI, as much as it can be, it is not great with some things. And at that time, I can't say that it was great with lyrics. And I had to do some wordsmithing, right? To really make it work and fall into place. So all that being said, I published this song on my YouTube channel. Chambers is my moniker on YouTube. There's a billion of us. In fact, some of my music I originally published through a distributor, got the website wrong, and they started publishing to a different David Chambers. Who reached out to me, said, "Hey, good music, but something's wrong with your distributor. They're sending it to my channel. Please have them take it down." And then I had to talk to my distributor and say, "Hey, you're putting music up on the wrong channel." And there was a little bit of a back and forth. And I finally said, "Look, you put it up on a channel of the same name, but it's not even me or my channel." I don't know how many different ways I said it. I finally got through with that. And the next day it was down off that gentleman's channel, but it was like, it took me a week. So I'm sorry, David Chambers of other United States area, wherever you're at, try to make something.
I think I told you, I searched Harold Chambers on YouTube, and first of all, I have like 8 channels that are all dead now. But I found another rapper, a Harold Chambers rapper.
Nice.
Yeah. Like Kansas City or Louisiana or something.
Yeah. So, but back to this Elk Season song, right?
Sorry.
I published it on my channel 6 months ago, roughly.
Yeah.
And I'm full transparency. You can read what I just described in this podcast. You can read, I kind of put a brief description saying, "Hey, look, this is how I put this song together." In fact, I actually have a link you can click if you want to download the MP3 for free, because to me, the way that I write songs is not through AI. So I just kind of felt that, I want to give it away.
Right.
Maybe use it for our channel and have some fun with it. But it got fewer than 30 views in 6 months.
Okay.
So having all the footage from the Sawtooth Hills, I thought, well, it's about elk season. And that's something we did for elk season, for the stuff that we do, for the podcast we do. I'm going to take the clips and just kind of throw them into that video and repost that, call it the Trail Cam Edition. And I posted that live last Friday. And again, it's not like I'm getting millions of views. That's not the point, but I just find it interesting. And I wanted to share this on the podcast that 6 months only warranted like 27 views.
Yeah.
But 5 days of this new version. Now, the old version has still frames of our hunting area, of our hunting excursions, if I would say, and then some video.
Yeah.
But this is all just trail cam, and it's all just elk, except for one shot of the bear. And in 5 days, it's almost to 450 or 460 views in 5 days.
Wow.
I've gotten 3 new subscribers.
All right.
And I also link these to the podcast to hopefully garner some traffic to us.
Yeah,
so anyway, if you're watching this and you didn't know about it,
check it out.
Maybe Harold can put a tag or something or a link
I don't know
to
how
my
those
stuff.
work. Just kidding.
But Chambers, or it's at David
Link in the
S.
description.
Chambers.
Sure, I can do that.
Link in the description kind of thing. Anyway, but I want to say welcome to any of those new subscribers. If you happen to come over here and see this, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And anybody who's watched it and cared for what we're doing, thank you. I don't know that we do enough of that. I know we appreciate whoever might stumble across this. We don't have lots of views on this channel yet, but I saw a comment on our last video, and I gave him a thumbs up from my other channel, but thank you for anybody who takes the time to listen to us. Moving on, unless there's anything else you wanted to say to any of that.
No, I would just say again that the Elk Season Podcast is dedicated to archery elk, the greatest outdoor sport in North America. And we only have September to hunt, and we need to stay focused and prepared for when September comes around. And as a way of doing that, we need to talk about elk season every week, or we try to talk about elk season every week. And that's and everything that revolves around elk, all the conservation issues, all their predators, the water situation out west, any of the fires that come along, and all the guys on YouTube making awesome videos of elk hunts. That's what the podcast is about, and it's fun. Yeah. I like it. I like doing it. I like talking about
in the zone, man.
The YouTube stuff, and I like talking about wolves and bears and the books I read, and so
wolves, eh?
Yeah, I love the wolves.
What's this removing a gray wolf? Was it in California?
Gosh.
Says Oregon. In Oregon.
Oregon. Yeah. Oregon. I thought so. Yeah.
So a removal of an endangered gray wolf. Why just one?
If they're problematic, if they are habitual, right? Yeah. So they are removed on occasion.
Yeah. Okay. So it says here multiple unsuccessful attempts at non-lethal deterrence.
Yes. Yes. So okay, that's how it works.
Yep.
Once
active management.
This is why they avoid humans mostly, right? Because they get in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that. Speaking of nuisances, there was this young cow or a young moose.
Yeah.
That also got euthanized for trying to take up residence and make friends with the locals.
If it's fed,
it's dead.
It's dead. If it's fed, it's dead. I know moose are cute. I know it's cold outside. I know bears are cute. If it's fed, it's dead.
It's something is.
Yeah. So anyways, that and that's all that information is in that headline. It was fed by locals and it was euthanized.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I can't fault our human nature to want to connect with our animal creatures. We have cats and dogs, domestic animals, birds, things like that. But there is a line that we really shouldn't cross with some of these other animals. Bears, moose, just they're not.
Are you talking about fatal attractions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just exotic pets aren't worth it.
Oh,
don't ask me how I know that.
So dumb. So dumb.
It's sad.
Domesticated animals are tough enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
You ever piss off your cat?
Yes. Yes, I have. Let's see. We have young moose euthanized. A Wisconsin poacher.
Yeah.
So this is we've talked about poachers before,
of course,
but this Wisconsin poacher is in jail and banned from hunting in the state for killing 150 deer in 2 years.
Wow.
I don't even know. How did they even keep record or get record of that? He must have been keeping evidence of this or something.
It might have been part of a plea deal.
Yeah.
Like, you tell us everything you did, and if anything else comes up afterward, then we're going to prosecute you 100% for it. I don't know.
$27,000+ in fines, 42-year ban from hunting.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah.
Apparently is a farmer in Wisconsin, so that could have, using that bait and bringing them in and just quick and easy.
Yeah, maybe.
You have the land and you know how to, hunting deer in the Midwest is so different than out here.
So different.
I don't know if I could understand and tolerate it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very different. If you watch any of the videos from drone deer recovery, you get a really good sense of how tight things are, how different hunting is. Whitetails.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the first animal I ever hunted, and it was with a rifle.
Really? Oh, yeah.
With you.
That's right. I
know. You've gotten so far away from the rifle side of things, you forgot you once hunted with a rifle.
Yeah. I was never proud of it, let's be honest. Rifles are so heavy.
You hypocrite. How dare you? How dare you start this podcast?
No, I've killed I killed one animal with a rifle. I killed a pronghorn.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and I've talked about eating what was left of that pronghorn out of the freezer with Lorna one time.
Oh, right on.
It was just fried in butter with some ranch. Oh, and it was delicious.
Yeah,
it's good. I'm surprised how much I liked it back then. But anyway,
okay.
I'm looking forward to my next pronghorn, whenever that is. Look, there's a lot of animals to avoid in wilderness. You don't want to be feeding the animals. Yes. But in California, this headline, and I'm just going to make this quick. This headline says dangerous animals, the most dangerous animals to avoid in the California wilderness. Yeah. And it's got a picture of a hiker coming around a boulder, not seeing a big grizzly bear.
Oh, no.
Clickbait.
A grizzly bear in California.
Clickbait.
Yeah.
They didn't list grizzly bear. I went in there enough to see that was all just clickbait. And I knew it.
Didn't. Yeah.
But dang it.
On the endangered species list, nothing evokes as much emotion as grizzly bear. Right? There's 250. There's 200 and some odd endangered species on the endangered species list. And nobody is. Most people are very passionate about the grizzly bear.
So, grizzly bears are quite common in hold on. Just want to make sure I didn't lose contact there.
Grizzly bears are quite common
in like Canada and Alaska, right? You know, and some places in the Northwest, but not quite like Canada and Alaska. But I think this video came out in Alaska where some people are hiking in a national park up there, and there's like 3 juvenile grizzly bears, and they're rubbing their backs on a tree, and it's really cute. It looks like it's out of a Disney cartoon, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But as much as fun as it is, the bears started to show a curiosity toward the hikers. Yeah. And I wanted to laud them. Now, they didn't make as much noise as I would because I think they wanted to see them, and that could also be a point of argument or debate that you should probably get them scared off, not just scared of. Yeah. Because if they're still proximal, they're going to get used to that. Right. But he goes, no. And they stopped coming towards and they started going the other direction, but they didn't go fast. And I think what really would be beneficial in my mind is you want the bear to go away fast. Yeah. And so anyway, but that's the only critique, but it was just cute to see all those. They're giant bears, by the way. They're juvenile. Don't mistake. They're bigger than you and me.
Yeah, they're 400 or 500 pounders.
Yeah, you'll Big see ones. It. You'll see in the still shot I got. It's like, holy crap! Right? They're not small.
On. I can't see.
It's blurry anyway, so it didn't really work. Anyway, we have. I got that one. We are rounding third. We're coming home. All right. Just a couple things left. So we're going to start with the Yellowstone bison herd. Yeah. So I read this article last week about how there were two. They considered the Yellowstone bison to be in 2 separate herds. Yeah. Genetically, that can lead to a lack of diversity amongst the population. But the 2 herds, apparently, through some research in the last few years, have shown that they've actually merged. It's just one giant herd now. I always assumed that, but apparently the biologists have been tracking it, and that's not always been the case. And now it is a giant herd. So that's cool. So,
it's incredibly dynamic because. To say 2 giant herds, well, it's like 2 solar systems. Yeah. Right? They're not herds not just in one place, right? The herd is spread all over the place, and they're spinning in one direction and other herds are spinning in other directions. So it's very dynamic, and there's certain geologic boundaries right? Natural boundaries that maybe separate them. Anyway, cool.
Yeah,
cool. It's good to have that genetic diversity.
7,000-year-old bowstring you brought to the table this week.
Yeah, I just like archery, and I just like anybody who's ever done it.
So they found an intact 7,000-year-old bowstring.
Yeah,
that is fabulous.
That is awesome. That just 7,000. I think it's European.
Well, now it's not. I'm just kidding.
But
I'm just kidding.
But it's still to know that they've been hunting. They've been hunting with bows. They've been hunting elk with bows for thousands of years. More 10,000, 20,000 years.
Yeah,
in fact, there's new evidence. I didn't bring it. I thought I had it with me of the New Mexico White Sands footprints.
Oh,
there was some new information on that out this week.
Oh, good.
And how they arranged their travois, because the wheel hadn't been invented yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so, does the travois cross? Does the travois cross and be pulled between your feet? So if you're pulling a travois, would the drag poles be outside your footprints, or inside your footprints, depending on what the arrangement of the travois was, right? And they were able to show, well, these are the two different arrangements of a travois, and here's.
I think I came across an image, but I didn't know what I was looking at because I was busy or something.
Yeah,
it's cool.
That's cool. It's a cool story.
Desert Drifter went and looked at the evidence behind those footprints and things. Yeah, there's an interesting episode. You should watch it. I was actually kind of surprised at what I learned from his video.
Okay.
It's one of the first videos I watched from him.
Okay.
So the last thing we have to talk about is seasoned feet. So
this sounds like a cool trick.
I'm curious, and I also wonder, are we being punked?
I don't know.
In a weird way, it makes sense because using cayenne pepper on your toes instead of a hot pack or super thick socks should bring a sensation. It increased blood flow. It's a vasodilator, right? It touches those when your feet get cold, the circulation slows down. Circulation slows down, your feet get colder. So right, if you can speed up that circulation a little bit by opening those blood vessels, and I guess what this guy says, he was an old musher. He says this would work. So I'll try it. And then if you harvest an animal, you've got a peppery seasoning right there to go with it. And if you're hunting in wintertime, throw a little cinnamon in your sock as well, and then you'll have a little wintry fragrance.
Yeah, there you go.
A little pinch of...
And all day long, a cinnamon scent is your reward.
Right. Yeah, so that's it. That's the end of my list.
All right.
I scratched off everything, and I did not win.
All right, and we are 169 days from elk season.
Yes.
How do you feel? How are you feeling? You in shape? You ready to get outside?
I've been going for walks. I've been off the elliptical a little bit, but I've been outside doing stuff too. So I've been pulling my weight down a little bit. And, I know that Bram's been getting his leg work in. He's joined a ultimate frisbee team.
Ooh, very wise.
So every night from 4 to 6, he's actually right outside my office building on campus.
Very nice.
Running back and forth, conditioning himself to play frisbee right now. So that doesn't hurt your legs.
Good practice. That's good practice for both football season and elk season.
Yeah. So
good for him.
Proud of him for taking that on. So
yeah. Oh, that's exciting. Okay. Well, until next time, next week.
Yeah, it should be.
Okay, should be next week.
Cheers. Be well. Stay awesome.
Goodbye.
In the morning light, before dawn, bow grip tight, heart beating strong. Through the forest, ancient giants roam. In the land where the wild calls me home. Pines and the autumn breeze, driven by the chase, crisp air I breathe. With every step I take, earth beneath my feet. In nature's beauty where the hunter and elk meet. The mountains rise, kissed by the sun.
September, where I belong. Bugles echo loudly through the veil, a symphony of an ancient tale. Through the whispering pines and the autumn breeze, driven by the chase, crisp air I breathe. With every step I take, earth beneath my feet. In nature's beauty, where the hunter and elk meet. Silent as the morning mist, I travel on with careful grace. Every shadow, every sound surrounds me in this wild embrace. The challenge and the thrill, the patience and the skill, in the dance of life and nature, my heart's forever filled. As the sun sets, shadows long and deep, I find my place with the memories I keep. The chase and the beauty of a day gone by. Deep in the mountains, my spirit cries. Through the whispering pines and the autumn breeze, driven by the chase, crisp air I breathe. With every step I take, earth beneath my feet. In nature's beauty, out where the hunter and elk meet. Here's to the wild places where the elk and I both roam. The chase that brings us closer to the place that I call home. In the stillness of the forest, in the grandeur of the land, I am one with nature's wonder, with my bow here in my hand.